Here's a look at my gap and go trades for the week of April 8th through the 12th. I will also do a gap recap for the week of March 31st through April 5th. Hi everyone, it's Dow on the Dow. First up is NIO. We ended the week at $4.39, down 2.44%. This is where we are. To the north side takes us back to the middle of the trend at $4.50, above that at resistance and a potential take profit area as well, 465, 473, and 480. Those are your price targets for Monday. Now to the south side at -2 standard deviations and another level of support and a potential buy-in area, 434, 427, and 419. Now for a look at the gap recap for the previous week. This gap opened up, we gapped up, so I anticipate a gap down, and it filled right here, opened up on Monday. Let me see if I can make this a little bit better here. Be a little bit more precise. So that is Monday, and it closed out on Tuesday. And this gap opened up as well and touched here, closed out on Thursday of last week, and another mini opportunity or a trade right there to the upside closed out at roughly 454. This one, the anticipated move was to the downside, and that came true, closed out at 451. So that is it for the recap. Everything that opened up for the week also closed out, including this one that carried over. Oh, and wait, nope, that is still in play. It looked like it touched, but it did not. So that gap closes out at 477. And we do have other gaps that I'm tracking on the way up. We are not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close. Just something to keep in mind if and when we reverse course. The next one is going to be SOFI. We ended the week at $7.40, up 1.23%. This is where we are. Back to the middle of the trend. It takes us to 753. 781, 794, and 808. Now to the south side, 725, 711, and 697. So that's the expected move for Monday. So I'm tracking from here, Monday to Friday. So this is where I anticipate price to stay within -2 and 2 standard deviations all day long. And that is if we continue in this upward channel, which we are in. So make a note of that. Now, for your gap recap, let me clean up anything that I have marked out. So there was a gap here. We gapped down, so I anticipate a gap up to close it out. And it looked like this touched, but it didn't right here. So I will extend that, and it touched right here on Tuesday, closed out at 721. And that's the only gap that opened up. So I am tracking this move. That's the next gap up. So we could touch it next week, but that's keeping our fingers crossed that we bounce all the way up here from down here. Definitely not likely on Monday. But we've got many gaps to the upside to look forward to, and we are in an upward channel, so that's great to see. Note the bounce at support, clear sell-off at resistance. Clear buy and sell signals. The next one is RIVN. So I'm tracking this move Monday through Friday. And now I'm going to give you some price targets. So we ended the week at $10.10, down 0.3%. Oops. To the north side, back at the median, the baseline, the middle of the trend, and resistance in this situation, 10.15, 10.37, 10.47, and 10.58. To the south side, back at support and a potential buy-in area, 994, 983, 972. And obviously there are many levels in between -2 and 2 for support and resistance levels. I'm just giving you some basic numbers here. And note the channel we are going in right now, which is down. We have not turned sideways. And then after that, after basing, then I will anticipate going up. But right now we are still going down. Check the RSI on the different time frames to give you different buy and sell signals. Turn on your Bollinger Bands, your VWAP, do your trend lines, retracements, whatever you'd like to do to give you different levels. Turn on the bots to give you buy and sell signals as well. So now that I've given you price targets for Monday, let's look at the past week and see what happened in terms of the gaps. I'm going to clean this up. So last week we started off at 1097, grinding our way along the baseline, hit resistance, sell off, back down to support. So this gap opened up, we gapped down, so I anticipate a gap up to close it out, and we are not there, not in the channel. So this gap is now in play to the upside for the week of April 8th through the 12th. But obviously, again, we're going down. So make sure you set your stop loss and even set your stop limit to get out if you're just trading and having fun getting in and getting out at the appropriate times. But obviously, if you're investing, it's a whole different story. Set it and forget it. So I'm tracking this gap also when it fills, and then that takes us to 1533, not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close. The next one, TSLY. I'm in this trade for myself and for my mom. I am down on some shares and up on others. So I do own NIO, SOFI, and TSLY. Now, for your price targets for Monday, here's the week that I'm tracking, just from here to here. Note the downward channel that we are still in. 1465. Let me fix that. Now, to the north side, baseline 1484. 1524. Oops. 1545. 1564 to the south side, 1442, 1424, and 1402. And looking left, let's talk about the gap recap for the previous week. So we have this gap that continues from the previous week, and look at this, we touched right here, no longer a threat to our accounts to the south side. That closed out at 1494. This is your support area and a bounce to resistance, and what happens? A sell-off back down to one level of support. Now this gap, let me clean this up. Did we touch? Yes, we touched right here. So to this, oh no, let me out of the gate on Monday. This is the touch from the south side. All right, so this is no longer a threat. Done. So we've got this one that developed, still in play. Takes us to 1544. Might as well just mark the top one while I'm here. All right. So we gap down for this one. I anticipate a gap up whenever we fill. That takes us to 1553. And that's it. And then obviously these other gaps that I've been tracking for quite some time. Take a look at this on the daily, the weekly, the monthly for different buy and sell signals and targets. RSI also turning down. The next one is Pfizer. I'm in this trade. I believe it's just for my mom. I don't think I have any shares in this one. All right. 2666 is where we ended to the north side. 2673, 2687, 2701 to the south side. Ignore all these horizontal lines. I track those in different videos for price targets, my buy-in areas, my sell areas. And this video gets long, so I don't want to talk about that in this video. I'll leave it to the individual stocks that I go over. Okay, the middle of the trend and support, 2645, 2616, 2602, and 2588. Looking left to recap the gap trades here, the gap recap. Note the bounce at support, sell off at resistance, resistance, resistance. All right, we don't have any big gaps that opened up or any gaps in this situation. Everything closed out, so that's good. That's what you want to see. A nice, steady price pattern here where we don't have these sudden moves to the downside or sudden moves to the upside. I'd rather base, grind it out, make small moves. That's what I like to see. But there's this gap to the upside that I've been tracking for a very long time. All right, that will take us to 3034, not in the channel, not in the zone. Note the downward channel we are still in for Pfizer. So the 1-year price target is 3137. This could be an area to potentially keep track of and possibly buy in if you think this level looks attractive to you. But because I play very conservatively, I don't need any more shares. I will not be buying till we get to here, here, or here. Probably. All right, the next one is Exelon. We're at 37.34. We are at resistance. You know what happens at resistance. So I anticipate a sell-off, slight sell-off on Monday. Of course, a sell-off to possibly hit another leg up. Look at the price targets. That helps me determine what direction I think we may go according to the analysts. All right, to the north side, 37.52, 37.68. To the south side, 37.07, 36.77, 36.62, 36.47. Note the bounce at support, sell off at resistance, resistance, resistance. And we have this gap right here that opened up and closed out to the upside right there at 37.21. And this is how I like to mark my gaps. And move it to right there. Now we've got this gap I have been tracking. Oh, look, we touched right here to the south side, no longer a threat to our accounts to the downside. That closed out at 36.66, went down some more, and boom, back up on the roller coaster ride. This gap is still in play for the following week, taking us to 37.90. And I've been tracking this for quite some time. We got close to getting there at this level, but no cigar. So, but unfortunately now we're going down. We are reversing course here. And that will be the last gap I track. Next one, Intel. I'm in this trade for my mom. I'm in at different price targets. It's a hot mess, or it looks like it, but I know exactly what every line means. So again, ignore that. Let's give you the price targets. We ended the week at 38.71. Your price targets on the 5-minute time frame for Monday. Resistance, 39.43, 40.10, and 40.83. To the south side, middle of the trend, 38.05, 36.67, 26.32, oops, and 35.25. I have shares at different levels for my mom, but overall, I still am up because I did buy shares for her in the $29 range as well. So I think I'm going to have to maybe just scoop up a little bit more when we get to here, possibly, or more like down here, if we get there at all. Now, this gap opened up last week, just a small one, but something to be aware of to the upside for a bounce. Are we capable of getting there on Monday? Let me see. Yeah, on Monday we could bounce there, and then if we hit this area of resistance, I will anticipate a sell-off. And that will take us right here to roughly 39.46. That's doable, and then hitting resistance for a sell-off. And then this gap opened up last week to the north side. Not in the channel, not in the zone. Note the downward channel we are in. All right, this gap closed, so no longer a threat to our account to the south side at 42.07. I will delete the price, noting that it filled. And then this one opened up as well. All right. And then we've got that one, and then we've got that one. Many, many gaps to the upside whenever we reverse course. But we are not there yet. Still downward. Whoops. Command Z if you want to undo anything that you accidentally did that you don't want to do. Okay, next one. SLB. 55.03 up 1.4% to the north side. 55.46. 55.72, 55.98, baseline, support, 54.93, 54.40, 54.14, 53.86. Now for your gap recap of the previous week. Note the bounce at support, sell-off near resistance, support, resistance, support. Cycle repeats itself. This gap I've been tracking for quite some time. Look at that. I have to show you this on the daily, and I'll do that in a different video, but I don't want to hold you up here just to give you price targets. This gets very long. All right, this is still in play. We are in an upward channel, however, so we are not even close, not in the channel. And this is the only gap left from the gaps that I have been tracking. All right. Well, we've got gaps to the downside, but I really don't track that. I just tell you about them because it's there and I want to point it out to you, but I track gaps to the north side. I like to go long. Okay, that will take us to 56.39. And I don't, well, if we continue to go up, this could close out finally by the end of the week. But on Monday, if we continue to slowly go up, this will touch as we tried to touch here, but we never closed out. But fingers crossed this one does, so I can stop talking about it and find you another gap and go trade. This is my 18th week doing this, by the way. It does take a lot of work, but you know what? You have to do that. You have to put in the work to make the money. Nothing comes easy, nothing comes free. 71.66 is where we are, back at the middle of the trend. 71.84, 72.56, 72.93, 73.28. Option R to reset that so you can see. But again, we are in a downward channel with this one as we are with so many other stocks. But obviously you can still bounce up and do a trade to the upside too. But in general, we are going down. Check the different time frames for your buy and sell signals off of the RSI as well. See, look at this. This is still in play. Okay, we could touch this, but not next week. Unless something tanks and I can't control that or foresee the future. But just generically, you can see where price is going to go if we stay steady. So now I've confused myself. Did I give you price targets for BABA? No, I'm going to do this again really quickly, okay, to the south side. 71.13, 70.79, 70.42 roughly. 72.54, 72.91, 73.26. Okay, now for this gap, for the recap, this gap I talked about that opened up on the 28th, we finally closed it out right there, this touch point to the south side, 71.61-ish. No longer a threat to our accounts to the south side. There are many other threats, but just not this one. And then look, I pointed this out, just this micro mini one. Okay, this baby one, but guess what? It touched to the south side, which I knew price would go to at 72.41. And then boom, back down to support. You get it. The cycle repeats itself. Now for this gap that opened up, we touched right there. Done. This took us to 72.44. This gap opened up, still in play for the upcoming week. 72.99. Now this gap from previously is still in play at 73.77. For BABA, look at all these other gaps. Not in the zone, not in the channel. I will be tracking it for you. And hopefully we can consolidate and base, but note how we're still going down. We need sideways action. You need to see this downward channel slowly correct itself to go sideways and then to slowly go up again. That's when you know we're going to be possibly at the bottom, or a potential just reversal to go up and then to go back down again. Nike, this one got slammed. All right, your price targets first, so I don't lose track of what I'm trying to do for you. All right, here we go. Oops. Middle of the trend, 89.07, 89.65, 89.94, and 90.23. To the south side, 88.52, 88.23, and 87.94. Let's look left and see what happened here. The last time I talked about it, beginning of the week, 93.98, boom, all the way. And this is resistance, support, close to it, back to resistance. This gap opened up now, so this is in play for us. And no other gaps, but note the sell-off at resistance here, the bounce at support. And I'm tracking many other gaps to the north side, but we are not in the channel, not in the zone. This is so funny. We're getting beaten up. Let me just go to the daily because earnings came out and they reported 12.429 billion. The estimate was 12.28 billion for $149 million to the upside. And what happens? The stock gets beaten up on good earnings. But you know what? That's what happens. The market makers are crashing this and they want to get it now for even a better price. I do need to dollar cost average down and get some more. Even though they went woke, they went broke. I think, as with anything, there's going to be a reversal. Just, I don't know when. This 1 year price target is still a 111, which represents a 25% return from where we are. Tesla, next one. This one's been beaten up as well. 164.90 to the north side, back at the middle of the trend. 169.60, 176.04, 179.23, 182.31 to the south side. 163.25. 160.03 and 157.06. Remember, these lines are a moving target, constant moving target. To the upside, That will close out now because it developed last week at 170.96, looking left. All right, when I last talked about it, price was at 175.09. We fell down. On the way down, this turns into support, these lines. On the way up, it turns into resistance. All right, so look at this. This gap was in play the beginning of the week on Monday. This is the gap recap for you. We touched right there. This is no longer a threat to our accounts to the south side. Gone. Bye-bye. This one that I've been tracking to the south side, everything to the south side is coming true, unfortunately. Pretty much everything. 163.75, no longer a threat to our accounts. We delete this. We no longer need to track it. But note this one. Still in play, I believe. I don't think it touched. No. No, 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 no. Okay, so that means, let me hit Option R on a Mac. Still in play, but fortunately, look at this. Look at this slow, gradual uptick. You see this just slightly going up, and that's what I like to see. I don't need some weird giant reaction. I don't need to get slammed to the upside, slammed to the downside. I don't need this to go to the moon. Slow and steady, that's what I want to see. I don't even want to see a gap, but gaps create opportunities. Don't forget that. All right, to the north side is this gap, to the south side, but now we're going up, so I don't know if we're going to touch this. So that takes us to 154.68. But definitely between -2 and 2 standard deviations all day long. And then note this gap. We tickled it here, okay? We didn't touch the top of it, so still in play. This one opened up. This was an opportunity. It went down. We crashed down, and we closed to the north side. That was an opportunity to buy down here, to reverse up here, and that was at 174.01. And then we hit near this area. We couldn't touch it, slammed back down. So now we are here. I expect to touch down here, and once we get along these lines, then another ride up. Okay, and that one takes us, as I said, 188.11 previously. Many other gaps to the north side, not in the channel, not in the zone, even though we are going up. We're not up that far up when I say up. Apple down to 169.58, close to another level of support. But first, to the north side, 170.43, 171.96, 172.76, 173.53. To the south side, 168.86, 168.04, and boom, 167.25. All right, looking left. This gap, I have to clean this up. This is your gap recap. I just extend these gaps from the previous week, and I just, mark it out. I don't know where it's going to touch. That's where you have to go back, do the work, clean up your charts. So this one didn't touch over here. It actually touched right down here. Now, I made this go wonky. It's right here. It's a tiny little one. Still a gap though, but this closed out to the downside, 169.88. And then this gap opened up, an opportunity to go up long, 169.94. This opportunity to go south. See, we made it all the way up to resistance, then fell back down because I knew this was going to go down because of this gap, 169.82. Doesn't mean it's going to fill that week, but it's in the realm, in the possibility of -2 and 2. Don't make it more than it is. Just anticipate these moves because it's within the range. Just play the range. All right. And then set your stop loss, because if you can't afford to stay in it and it stops you out and psyched you out, you can get out and then get back in at a different time. It's okay to set your stop losses. Okay, this one still in play at 173.09-ish. This one's still in play at roughly 175.05. I will clean this up. Oh, I put it at 75.01, 175.01. But all right, we are in an upward channel finally, and the 1-year price target, 198.81, a 17% return from where we are. And finally, Boeing. I'm sure you're tired of me talking. I'm tired of me talking too. I got one more for you though. Got to finish this out. Oops. Option R. All right. Okay. Here we go, your price targets. I'm dog sitting right now. The most gorgeous boar bull ever. She's like 120 pounds. I got to go play with her, so I got to wrap this up. 183.14 is where we ended. 183.41 is where we're going to go when we get to the baseline. 185.28, 186.23, and 187.18. 181.50. 180.52, 179.56. Looking left, note the downward channel. We are still getting beaten up here. This gap that I was tracking to the downside closed out. I will clean this up right here, technically, at 187.59. This baby gap, this baby mama gap here, closes out at roughly, let me extend it. It's hard to grab because it's so tiny. Oops, Command Z. I just have to make this bigger to grab it. All right, this will take us up to roughly 189.48 or 49. I'll give you the penny. This gap opened up, closes to the downside, and we did that right there. No longer a threat to our accounts, 185.09. And then note here, support, bounce up, sell off at resistance, bounce at support, and making our way down, lower lows. Okay. And we've got a gap to the north side. Whenever we reverse course, who knows how long that's going to take. And we've got other ones I'm not even going to discuss because we're not even there, not close. Right now, still going downward. And finally, Desert Creek homeowners, please dump Donna Turberg, Richard Ramsey, and Vicky Brancato. We need new board members. If you either own a home there or you rent out a home to tenants, please, the election is coming up this summer and we are just gearing up for it and getting people prepared, but these people need to go. We need new, fresh board members. We don't need the establishment to stick around. They've done enough damage. We've had a lawsuit, the first one ever, with their leadership, or should I say lack of leadership, and it's time for them to go. So that's it. That is a look at your gap and go trades for the week of April 8th through the 12th, and your gap recap for March 31 through the 5th. I hope you have a fantastic trading week, and I'll be doing a few more charts for some other things that I want to go over. Have a great week.